The day my husband threw me out of our home was the day I stopped believing that love could survive anything. I still remember the way Ethan looked at me. There was no hesitation in his eyes. No doubt. No sadness. Only cold certainty. The DNA test lay on the dining table between us. Our 5-year-old son Noah stood quietly near the stairs, clutching his toy dinosaur, too young to understand why his parents were suddenly enemies. "The results are clear," Ethan said, his voice shaking with anger. "Noah isn't my son." I stared at the paper. My hands trembled. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. "That test is wrong," I whispered. "Stop lying." "I'm not lying." "You expect me to believe that?" His mother, Linda, sat beside him with crossed arms and a look of satisfaction that made me sick. She had never liked me. From the day Ethan married me, she had treated me as if I wasn't good enough. Now she finally had what she wanted. Proof. Or what she believed was proof. "Ethan," I begged, "look at me. Have I ever given you a reason to think I would cheat? You don't need to admit it anymore." "I didn't cheat." He slammed his fist on the table. "Enough." The sound made Noah start crying. I rushed toward him, but Ethan stepped between us. "Take your things and leave." I froze. "What?" "You heard me. You can't be serious. Get out." 8 years of marriage disappeared in 3 words. Get out. I waited for him to calm down, to realize how insane this was. But he never did. 2 hours later, I stood on the sidewalk with 2 suitcases and my crying son while the front door closed behind us. And just like that, my family was gone. 4 weeks I lived with my older sister Rachel. Every night Noah asked the same question. "When are we going home?" And every night I had no answer. The divorce papers arrived faster than I expected. Ethan wasn't just ending our marriage. He was erasing us. He stopped calling Noah. Stopped asking about him. Stopped acting like the little boy even existed. That hurt more than anything. Not for me. For Noah. A child who adored his father. A child who couldn't understand why Daddy suddenly disappeared. The loneliness was unbearable. But what hurt most was knowing I was innocent. I had never cheated. Not once. The DNA test had to be wrong. There was no other explanation. I contacted the laboratory. I demanded answers. At first they refused to discuss the results. Then after weeks of pressure, I finally got someone willing to listen. The woman on the phone sounded nervous. "Mrs. Carter, there may have been a processing issue." My breath caught. "What kind of issue?" "We are conducting an internal review." "Tell me the truth." Silence. Then she said the words that changed everything. "There is a possibility that samples were mislabeled." I nearly dropped the phone. My knees gave out. For the first time in months, hope appeared. If the samples had been switched, then Ethan had destroyed our family for nothing. I immediately called him. He didn't answer. I texted. No response. I emailed. Nothing. It was as if he no longer cared. Then 3 weeks later I learned why. Rachel showed me photos on social media. Ethan was already dating someone. A woman named Vanessa. Tall. Blonde. Perfect. His mother adored her. The comments beneath the photos made me feel physically ill. Finally with the right woman. We always knew the truth would come out. Congratulations. 8 years erased. Replaced in less than 4 months. I cried until sunrise. Not because I wanted him back. Because I finally understood how little I had meant to him. A man who truly loved you would have fought for answers. He wouldn't have thrown you away after a single piece of paper. 2 months later the laboratory contacted me again. This time their voice carried panic. The investigation was complete. The original DNA result was wrong. A technician had accidentally mixed 2 separate family cases. The samples had been swapped. The corrected report confirmed exactly what I already knew. Ethan was Noah's biological father. 100%. I stared at the report. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because the truth had arrived too late. My marriage was already dead. Still, Ethan deserved to know. I emailed the results. 10 minutes later my phone rang. Ethan. For a moment I considered ignoring him. Then I answered. His voice sounded broken. Claire. I said nothing. Oh God. More silence. Then I heard him crying. Actual crying. I'm sorry. The words felt meaningless. You threw us away. I know. You abandoned your son. I know. You never listened. I know. Each answer made me angrier. Because he finally understood. But only after the damage was done. I don't expect forgiveness, he whispered. Good. Then I hung up. For the first time in months, I felt free. But the story wasn't over. 3 nights later, someone rang the doorbell. I opened the door expecting a delivery. Instead I found Ethan standing there. His eyes were red. His clothes looked wrinkled. He seemed 10 years older. Behind him stood Noah. Daddy. Noah ran into his arms. Ethan collapsed to his knees and hugged him tightly. Tears streamed down his face. I watched from the doorway. Conflicted. Furious. Heartbroken. He spent 2 hours playing with Noah. Listening to him. Laughing with him. Trying desperately to repair what he had destroyed. When Noah finally went to bed, Ethan remained at the kitchen table. Neither of us spoke. Then he slid an envelope toward me. Inside were legal documents. I frowned. What is this? The house. What about it? I transferred it to your name. I stared at him. What? The entire property. I looked again. The documents were real. Completely real. Why? His eyes filled with tears. Because it's the least I can do. I couldn't speak. Then he handed me another folder. Bank statements. Savings accounts. Investments. Nearly everything. You don't have to. Yes, I do. The guilt was consuming him. But no amount of money could erase what happened. You believed a test more than your wife. His head dropped. I know. You never trusted me. I know. You chose your mother over your family. His shoulders shook. I know. For a long moment neither of us spoke. Then he revealed something I never expected. Vanessa had left him. The moment the corrected DNA results became public, she disappeared. Linda had suffered a minor stroke from the stress and shame. Friends had turned against him. Even his business partners questioned his judgment. Everything he built was collapsing. Not because of the DNA test. Because people realized how quickly he had abandoned his own family. Months passed. Ethan continued showing up for Noah. Every soccer game. Every school event. Every birthday. Slowly Noah smiled again. Slowly he healed. As for me, I remained cautious. Trust doesn't grow back overnight. Especially after betrayal. 1 year later, another doorbell rang. I opened the door. Ethan stood there holding a small box. Not a ring. Just a box. Inside was a photograph. Our wedding day. The day Noah was born. Our first family vacation. Every happy memory we had ever shared. I know I don't deserve another chance, he said quietly. I may never deserve one. But I wanted you to know that not a day passes without regret. I looked at the photographs. Then at the man who had broken my heart. The man who had also spent an entire year trying to become better. I didn't know what the future would hold. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe friendship. Maybe something more. Or maybe nothing at all. But one thing was certain. The DNA test hadn't destroyed our family. A lack of trust had. And trust, once shattered, takes far longer to repair than any laboratory mistake. As Ethan walked away that evening, Noah ran after him laughing, and for the first time in a very long time, I felt peace. Not because everything was fixed. But because the truth had finally come home. And sometimes, the truth arrives with something as simple as a doorbell ringing at exactly the right moment.